You're doing great. Do that again.
Thanks so much.
You're crushing it.
Yeah, just remember that moment because it will never be the same. This is where we go downhill. Hey everybody, I'm Joe, brewmaster here at Wicked Weed Brewing, and this beautiful man is Nathan Smith, the curator of culture. And today we're going to talk to you about barrel-aged guilty pleasures, and we have German chocolate cake. Now, speaking of guilty pleasures, Nate, I was wondering if you would so humbly share a guilty pleasure of yours that maybe you wouldn't tell someone that you know and love.
One thing my family loves about these videos is that they never watch them. They never watch them, so we're safe. I can say whatever I want. We are good, bro. This is like beer nerds and the homies only, of which I don't really have many of those in my family, so let's go. Guilty pleasure for me. So this one kind of backfired on me a few years ago. I like to cook elaborate things for the holidays sometimes. And I also like to play disc golf. I also like to play ball golf. And one thing, this is related, I promise. One thing that happens in both of those places is you'll frequently encounter geese. And I don't know what you guys think about geese, but I think geese are a bunch of things that Madeline can bleep out. Like, they're awful. So out of spite, which is a guilty pleasure indulgence that I like to dabble in every now and again, about 5 years ago, I got a goose to cook for Christmas because it's one less goose in the world, right? But can we agree one less goose is probably a good thing for all of us? And I cooked it for my family and they all made fun of me. And then it turned out to be like the best the best Christmas dinner would ever had. Goose is amazingly delicious. And now this guilty pleasure that was completely motivated by petty spite from me from stepping in goose poop when I play golf and getting hissed at when I play disc golf. Now it's Christmas tradition. You guys want to come over to my house on the 25th and have a freaking goose in front of you because I'm going to cook it and you're going to eat it.
What I gather from that, Nate, is that the goose also shared spite because it has now become the best Christmas dinner for you.
You're absolutely right.
Maybe in another life, in another world, Geese and Nate Smith could actually share more in common than you knew going into this.
You know, it's going to put me in the universal cycle of reincarnation. I'm going to come back super goosey, and that's just going to be it. I'm going to end up on someone else's plate on the 25th of December.
Well, speaking of loosey-goosey, today on Beer Portraits, we're going to go through German chocolate, barrel-aged guilty pleasures, and let's crack this bad boy.
Yo!
Cheers to the geese.
Cheers, Retief Goosen. That story was long, but I think
good.
It was good.
We'll just cut the part out about the goose.
Stats time, team. German chocolate cake, bourbon barrel aged. Color, body, flavor, romance. Color on this one, yo, it's another roasted malt, beautiful dark stout that we make. So yeah, super dark brown, mahogany even. The body on this beer, it's inspired by pastry. It is inspired by dessert. It is going to be heavier. It's also going to be a little bit sweeter. This is a little sweeter guilty pleasure, and I freaking love it, especially with a combination of the bourbon barrel aging. That balances out that sweetness perfectly. This is a straight up banger. For flavor on this one, you're going to get a really nice interplay between German chocolate and coconut and bourbon, all going on in the same one. And I don't want to talk too much when I got the guy who made it next to me. Joe Bro, romance, go.
Thanks, Nate. German chocolate cake is a beer that our R&D brewer Sam designed a year and a half ago, and it was us focusing on our next iteration of a guilty pleasure, and it just matched so perfectly with, at the time, s'mores and milk and cookies that the leveling up of decadence was naturally, how can we incorporate a new ingredient? And coconut definitely played a big role in that. We all love coconut at the brewery, especially our production brewery manager, Phil. He is like, he's Coco Loco. I'll just go ahead and say
yes,
it.
points.
Anything with coconut he loves. And so we really worked on the different levels that of coconut that we would have in this beer so that it wasn't too maybe like copper tone, like sunscreen kind of off-putting flavor.
How hard is that to avoid? It seems like a lot of coconutty beers that I've had in the past.
It's tough, and so a lot of it leads into kind of toasting it or just kind of mellowing out some of that fresh coconut flavor. And so we have this nice toasted coconut aroma and flavor to the beer. But beyond that, the chocolate and the just these little hints of vanilla in the barrel, they blend together really well. And that's what we take pride on, is just that overall balance. And now this one's a 0.5% or so lower than espresso cheesecake, but it does give a little bit more sweetness to the beer, a little residual sweetness, and it just has a really impactful, I don't know, it's very nostalgic for me to taste German chocolate. It wasn't something I liked as a kid, but it really, as you get older, to kind of lead into these maybe more bitter, richer, darker chocolate flavors and aromas, just sets this beer apart from the others in the 4-pack. So other than the beer, obviously the labels on these things are so awesome, and we are very excited to share this beer with everybody this year.
I'm so glad your palate grew up and you can take the dark stuff now.
I know, me too. I'm excited for the future.
Cheers to the future.
Cheers, Nate.